Hello again, friends. So, if you were with us last week, you know I'm all swollen up due to being doused in seawater. As I am a freshwater spirit, I was unaware that would be the result, but I do have hands, so that's a plus. Anyway, as I was spitting out sea salt, I started to wonder why the sea is salty at all. Well, it turns out I am not the only one to ask that question, and I have the answer here from Asbjornsen and Moe. So join me now as we read Why the Sea is Salt. Once on a time, but it was a long, long time ago, there were two brothers, one rich and one poor. Now, one Christmas Eve, the poor one hadn't so much as a crumb in the house, either of meat or bread. So he went to his brother to ask for something to keep Christmas with, in God's name. Really only 1,000 years or so, because there is still Christmas and sadly no lightsabers. It was not the first time his brother had been forced to help him. Oh, Lord. The pronoun game. We shall call the rich brother Elias and the second brother Jack. So now let's try this sentence again. It was not the first time Elias had been forced to help Jack. And you may fancy Elias wasn't very glad to see Jack's face. But Elias said, "If you will do as I ask you to do, I'll give you a whole filch of bacon." A filch is a side of bacon. So Jack said he would do anything and was full of thanks. "Well, here is the filch," said Elias. "And now go straight to hell." "What I have given my word to do, I must stick to," said Jack. So he took the filch and set off. He walked the whole day, and at dusk Jack came to a place where he saw a very bright light. "Maybe this is the place," said the man to himself. So Jack turned aside, and the first thing he saw was an old, old man with a long white beard, who stood in an outhouse hewing wood for the Christmas fire. "Good even," said the man with the filch. "The same to you. Whither are you going so late?" said the man. "Oh, I'm going to hell, if only I knew the right way," answered Jack. "Well, you're not far wrong, for this is hell," said the old man. "When you get inside, they will be all for buying your filch, for meat is scarce in hell, but mind you, don't sell it unless you get the hand hewn, which stands behind the door for it." Wikipedia, what is a hewn? A hewn, or hewn stone, is a stone tool for hand grinding a wide variety of materials, especially the various types of grains. I wonder what's so special about this one. When you come out, I'll teach you how to handle the quern, for it's good to grind almost anything. So Jack thanked the other for his good advice and gave a great knock at the devil's door. When Jack got in, everything was just as the old man had said. All the devils, great and small, came swarming up to him like ants round an ant-hill. And each tried to outbid the other for the filch. "Well," said Jack, "by rights my old dame and I ought to have this filch for our Christmas dinner. But I suppose I must give it up to you. But if I sell it at all, I'll have it for that quern behind your door yonder." At first the devils wouldn't hear of such a bargain, and chaffed and haggled with the man. But Jack stuck to what he said, and at last the devil had to part with his quern. When the man got out into the yard, Jack asked the old woodcutter how he was to handle the quern, and after he heard how to use it, Jack thanked the old man and went off home as fast as he could. But still the clock had struck 12 on Christmas Eve before Jack had reached his own door. "Wherever in the world have you been?" said his old dame. "Here have I sat hour after hour, watching and waiting, without so much as 2 sticks to lay together under the Christmas brose." What is a Christmas brose? Well, Google assures me there is no such thing, and Wikipedia thinks it's a Scottish drink made with oats, so, yep, your guess is as good as mine. "Oh," said the man, I could not get back before, for I had to go a long way, first one thing and then another, but now you shall see what you shall see." So Jack put the quern on the table and bade it first of all grind lights, then a tablecloth, then meat, then ale, and so on, till they had got everything that was nice for Christmas fare. "Oh, I get it. The quern is a magical 3D printer. Cool!" He had only to speak the word, and the quern ground out what he wanted. The old dame stood by, blessing her stars, and kept on asking where he had got this wonderful quern. "In hell." But Jack wouldn't tell her. "It's all one where I got it from. You see, the quern is a good one, and the mill stream never freezes. That's enough." So he ground meat and drink and dainties enough to last till 12th day, and on the 3rd day Jack asked all his friends and kins to his house, and gave a great feast. Now when his rich brother saw all that was on the table, and all that was behind the larder, Elias grew quite spiteful and wild, for Elias couldn't bear that his brother should have anything. "'Twas only Christmas Eve," Elias said to the rest. "He was in such strait that he came and asked for a morsel of food in God's name. Now he gives a feast as if he were a count or a king. Jealous much?" And Elias turned to his brother and said, "But whence, in hell's name, have you got all this wealth?" Funny you should phrase it like that. "From behind the door," answered the owner of the quern, for Jack didn't care to let the cat out of the bag. But later on in the evening, when Jack had a drop too much, he could not keep his secret longer, and brought out the quern and said, "There, you see what has gotten me all this wealth. A 3D printer, that or counterfeiting money." And so Jack made the quern grind all kinds of things. When his brother saw it, Elias set his heart on having the quern, and after a great deal of coaxing, he got it. But Elias had to pay $300 for it, and his brother bargained to keep it till hay harvest. For Jack thought, if I keep it till then, I can make it grind enough meat and drink that will last for years. Well, only if he also grinds modern refrigeration and storing techniques. So you may fancy the quern didn't grow rusty for want of work, and when the hay harvest came, the rich brother got it. But the other took care not to teach Elias how to handle it. It was evening when the rich brother got the quern home, and next morning he told his wife to go out into the hay and toss while the mowers cut the grass. And Elias would stay home and get dinner ready. So when dinner drew near, Elias put the quern on the kitchen table and said, "Grind herrings and broth, and grind them good and fast." So the quern began to grind herrings and broth first of all the dishes full, then all the tubs full, and so on, till the kitchen floor was quite covered. Then the man twisted and twirled at the quern to get it to stop, but for all his twisting and fingering, the quern went on grinding, and in a little while the broth rose so high that the man was like to drown. So Elias threw open the kitchen door and ran into the parlor, but it wasn't long before the quern had ground the parlor full too, and it was only at the risk of his life that Elias could get hold of the latch of the house door through the stream of broth. When he got the door open, he ran out and set off down the road with the stream of herrings and broth at his heels, roaring like a waterfall over the whole farm. Now his old dame, who was in the field tossing hay, thought it time to dinner, and at last she said, "Well, though the master doesn't call us home, we may as well go. Maybe he finds it hard work to boil the broth, and will be glad of my help." The men were willing enough, so they sauntered homewards. But just as they had got a little way up the hill, what should they meet but herrings and broth and bread, all running and dashing and splashing together in a stream, and the master himself running before them, for his life. And as Elias passed, he bawled out, "Would to heaven each of you had 100 throats, but take care you're not drowned in the broth."
Run away! Run away! Run away!
Away Elias went, as though the evil one were at his heels, to his brother's house and begged him, for God's sake, to take back the quern. "For," said Elias, "if it grinds only 1 hour more, the whole parish will be swallowed up by herrings and broth." But his brother wouldn't hear taking it back till the other paid him down $300 more. So Jack both got the money and the quern, and it wasn't long before Jack set up a farmhouse far finer than the one in which his brother lived. And the quern he ground so much gold that Jack covered it with plates of gold, and as the farm lay by the seaside, the golden house gleamed and glistened far away over the sea. All who sailed by put ashore to see the rich man in the golden house, and see the wonderful quern, the fame of which spread far and wide, till there was nobody who hadn't heard tell of it.
El Dorado.
So the day came, a skipper who wanted to see the quern, and the first thing he asked was if it could grind salt. "And we shall call the skipper Alan." "Grind salt," said the owner. "I should just think it could. It can grind anything." When the skipper heard that, Alan said he must have the quern, cost what it would. For if Alan only had it, Alan thought he should be able to rid of his long voyages across the stormy seas for a lading of salt. Well, at first the man wouldn't hear of parting with the quern, but the skipper begged and prayed so hard that at last Jack let Alan have it. But he had to pay many, many thousands of dollars for it. Now when the skipper had got the quern on his back, he soon made off with it, for Alan was afraid lest the man should change his mind. So he had no time to ask how to handle the quern, but got on board his ship as fast as he could and set sail. That feels like a poor choice. When Alan had sailed a good way off, he brought the quern on deck and said, "Grind salt, and grind both good and fast." Well, the quern began to grind salt, so that it poured out like water. And when the skipper had got the ship full, Alan wished to stop the quern, but whichever way he turned it, and however much Alan tried, it was no good. The quern kept grinding on, and the heap of salt grew higher and higher, and at last down sunk the ship. There lies the quern at the bottom of the sea, and grinds away at this very day, and that is the reason why the sea is salt. I imagine the reason the devils never bothered to take the quern back is because it was causing enough trouble where it was. I like that story. I will have to ask my sea-water cousins if it's true. Well, it's time I asked you to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget about this notification bell. And, yeah. I would like to thank Pixabay.com for everything. Please consider joining my Patreon page. And I also have Facebook and Instagram. Normally I say more things, but this video has been more difficult to film than most, and I'm kind of done. So, I would like to thank my Patreon people. So here is a special thank you for them. Thank you, my friends, for being here.